All right, Alexander, let's talk about the German elections, which are officially set for the 23rd of February. And we are seeing some polling data which shows that the AfD is actually gaining a lot of momentum in this election cycle. But the experts, the analysts, they believe that when all is said and done, it will be the CDU with Merz as chancellor, most likely in some sort of a 2 or 3 party coalition. How do you see things playing out in Germany?
I am going to say this. I think that it more likely than not, we're going to see an election in which the CDU comes out as the biggest single political bloc in the German elections. But the overall story of this election up to now is that all the big mainstream parties are losing. I think that's the straightforward thing to say. The SPD, Scholz's party, is doing very badly. There was some expectations that after the collapse of the coalition, with Scholz's peace moves towards the Russians, some of that might start to come back and might start lifting the SPD. There's no sign of this at all. On the contrary, I get the sense that it's still fading away. The same about the Free Democrats. It doesn't look to me as if they're going anywhere, frankly, and I'm not even convinced they'll get back into the Bundestag. I think they could so badly underperform that they could actually fail to get represented in the Bundestag. There is probably always a core of support for the Greens. They will no doubt fall back, but I suspect there's still about 10% of the German electorate, or at least the people who will vote, who will continue to vote for them. So I'm afraid the Greens are going to be there. But Merz himself is unpopular. People don't especially like him. He is referred to in Germany, apparently, as Mr. BlackRock, because he's widely believed to be he apparently is very closely connected with BlackRock. I mean, I don't know the details, but that's what I've heard people say about him. He's not particularly liked. People don't particularly like his stance on Ukraine. Apparently, it's not a particularly popular one. And he's never been a person that people warm to. And if you look at the CDU-CSU group, it's polling at around 32%. Now, that's better than what Angela Merkel got, the last parliamentary election, or rather not Merkel, but her successor, I forget his name, got at the last election, which is below 30%. But given that they are the opposition party, not that much more really. So yes, likely they will emerge as the biggest party. But you're absolutely correct. The momentum seems to be with the AfD. And I think the single most alarming thing, the thing that they must worry about most, is that opinion polls, when asked to pick amongst the leaders of the parties, is showing Alice Weidel, the leader of the AfD, or at least the AfD's chancellor candidate, the person who will become chancellor if the AfD were to pull off some miracle and win the election. She's more popular than Merz is. She's actually outpolling Merz. And of course, all of this is now leading to the usual things. People are asking, why isn't the CDU doing better? How do we maintain the stable order, the liberal order, liberal order in Germany? Well, and we've seen a revival of ideas to ban the AfD.
Makes sense. I mean, they've canceled elections in Romania.
No.
Why would they not ban the AfD? I mean, it's something they will do. They will do. They will do it if they feel threatened.
Yeah, it's not impossible.
And the Globalist, yeah.
Yes. I mean, Germany does have a history of having a fairly strong legal structure. there is a constitutional court in Germany. There is supposed to be procedures that need to be followed in order to do this. Logically, it should be impossible. I would once have thought that annulling an entire first round of an election in an EU member state because of some videos on TikTok was impossible. But it happened. So I still think it's going to be difficult and unlikely, and of course massively controversial. But I'm afraid I don't say any longer that it's impossible.
Yeah, well, I would have thought that blowing up critical infrastructure was considered, at a minimum, a very bad thing to do.
Yeah.
Would, at a minimum, damage relations with the country that blew up your critical infrastructure. But that doesn't seem to have happened in Germany either. So I mean, all the rules has changed. Everything's changed now. I would say that if they feel threatened at all by AfD, they will do whatever they need to do to make sure that AfD doesn't get anywhere close to power.
Absolutely. I mean, bear in mind that they can do an awful lot that falls short of an outright ban or a simple ban. I mean, they can carry out raids, party offices.
Sure.
They can start seizing documents. They can start spreading stories about financial irregularities. They can try and shift the narrative onto those kind of things. Of course, they've been doing that a lot over the last couple of years already. And, it may be that it doesn't, break through and it doesn't change votes, but you can still pile on the pressure in all kinds of ways. And I think we must be prepared for that. I think that is exactly what we're going to start to see over the next few weeks and months. Now, of course, the other risk they run is that there's this new party on the left, the BSW, led by Sarah Wagenknecht. It's a new party. So far, it's rising, but most people think it still hasn't risen enough to yet win representation in the Bundestag. I sometimes wonder, by the way, whether the reason the election has been called now is precisely in order to call the election before this new party can break through in that kind of way, given that it's rising. But who knows? But the point is, if they do ban the AfD, they run the risk that a lot of the votes that the AfD would have got might trickle over to this other party, which is seen by many people in Germany as much of an anti-system party as the AfD itself is. But they will probably live with that because the BSW is not a threat to the system at the present time that is as great as the AfD is.
Okay, so let's end it with the discussion of Germany and the German elections, and let's shift gears a bit and talk about what happened in Canada with Trudeau.
Yeah,
Trudeau hangs on. He continues to hang on, even though he's had a big government shakeup. Yeah. Chrystia Freeland gone, who many people thought she was the real brains behind Justin. I guess she was the brains behind Trudeau. That says a lot. But she's out as finance minister, and Trudeau. There's a lot of calls for Trudeau to step aside, even from his own government. Even his own government. Many people in his government want him to leave, but he hangs on. The one leader of the collective West that refuses to go, or at least it seems like it's near impossible to get him to leave. But his time is coming. It looks like his time is indeed winding down.
I think it is, and I think the fact that she's lost Chrystia Freeland is in itself the big event, because she was clearly the big political force within the government. I still find that incredible, by the way, given her background and given my familiarity with her from the past. I remember reading her pieces when she was a journalist at the Financial Times. And I have to say, I thought a very thin and facile journalist who wrote most uninteresting pieces. I mean, I still find it incredible to think that, this giant figure in Canadian politics is the same person as the reporter on the Financial Times I used to remember. But all right, leave that aside. The point is, within Canada, she'd come to be seen as, the strong figure within the government. And she's now and she's not just left the government, but she has fallen out with Trudeau. I mean, she's saying very, very critical things about him. And as you rightly say, he refuses to go. Not clear why he is insisting on staying when everyone in his party wants him to go as well. It's starting to remind me a little about what happened in another country not far away, just at the south of Canada's border last year, when the leader of that country also insisted that he would stay. And then eventually, as we know, a coup was engineered and he was forced to leave. Well, in Canada, he's only the prime minister. So it's much easier in theory to remove a prime minister. I think at some point within the next few weeks, he will go. I think he's exhausted his political capital. He's lived through his 9 lives. The fact that he managed to survive as long as he has is, for me, the real wonder.
Yeah, well, he got baited into this, it seems.
Yeah.
I mean, Trump sent out that tweet about that post about tariffs, Canada 51st state and tariffs and 25% tariffs and all these things. And Trudeau fell for it hard. He got on a plane, went to Mar-a-Lago. It was obviously it was clear that Trump was the alpha. Trudeau was definitely the lesser in the meeting between the two. And he returned back to Canada, and his entire government seemed to unravel from that one event. I mean, it was going to unravel sooner or later, but the way it unraveled in this spectacular fashion was, in my opinion, because he got triggered, got very emotional with the post, with the talk about tariffs, the 25% tariffs, and he got on that plane, and things just fell apart after that.
Well, exactly. I mean, the fact of the matter is Trudeau has never been a leader, just to say. He's never been a strong leader. He's never stood up for Canada. What he should have done is he should have made a strong public statement from Ottawa saying the way that Trump is talking about is outrageous. We're a friend and ally of the United States, but we're a proudly independent country. I hope that, the president of the United States, when he becomes president, changes his stance. We're prepared to work for him, but certainly not on this basis. Something like that. That's what people would have been looking for. Instead, he rushes off, tries to speak to Trump, gets humiliated. Trump publishes this astonishing comment on Truth Social. He says, that he had this really successful meeting with Governor Justin from the great state of Canada. It's awful, absolutely awful. And as you correctly said, the fact that the reality of Trudeau was exposed finally. I mean, it's the Wizard of Oz moment. Don't look at the man behind the curtain, or the fact that behind Oz and all of that, or the machinery, there is a frankly very unimpressive individual there. Whilst everything was working for him, whilst the Biden people were working for him in America, whilst the EU was working for him, while the whole machinery was working to prop him up and to sustain him and to make him look like this tremendously powerful, effective, clever, intelligent, successful political leader that they all said he was. It looked as if he was someone. Then what happened with Trump is it became clear that he was no one. And at that moment, the whole thing just imploded. It was like, if you like, another one, the emperor has no clothes moment. I mean, it was that kind of awful awful episode. But as you rightly say, he's been prime minister actually for a very long time. And it's taken an awful long time for us to reach this point. And he was already probably seeing the problems mount up and build up around him.
The damage he has done is tremendous. Tremendous, the damage he has done. I wonder if it could be resolved, if it could be fixed.
No.
But, it's an interesting statement. Just my final thought on this, the machinery of the Wizard of Oz made this Wizard of Oz type of moment for Trudeau and Canada in much the same way as Biden. I mean, I think that defines the leadership of the collective West is the machinery. The machine does create this image of a leader, which when it is exposed, you get to the truth of the matter, which is that these people, Trudeau, Biden, Schultz, Macron, all of these people are very unimpressive. And I'm being very diplomatic in my choice of words, extremely unimpressive, but it's the machinery that holds them up. Trudeau has been prime minister in Canada for so long because it's not only the Canadian machinery, but it's this globalist machinery that props him up.
Exactly. That is exactly what it is. If we had a genuine politics, he would never have become prime minister in the first place. And had he become prime minister, he wouldn't have survived 6 months.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right. We will end it there. TheDuran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and X. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch like what we are wearing in this video update today. The link is in the description box down below. Take care.